Yo guys, what's going on? This is Jason and we're going to be talking about another Sonic the Hedgehog character, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite character, Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form. Now, I've been a big Shadow fan since day one, since he made his first appearance back in the SA2 days, in the Dreamcast days back in 2001, and Shadow to me is an interesting character. He's a character that I feel that Sega's lost sight of what Shadow represents, rather than him making him this kind of big edgelord and somewhat of an asshole. Shadow is none of those characters, and even the Archie comics I feel did a better job in portraying his character compared to what IDW has been doing. Now, to understand Shadow in the comic books, the world he's in, there's this backstory of Shadow the Hedgehog isn't really different. The only difference is that he's in the world called Mobius instead of Earth. So basically, Shadow was created 50 years ago by Professor Gerald Robotnik as a cure for Maria's disease, apparently, that was killing Maria slowly. Then, apparently, when Shadow was created, Professor Gerald had a change of heart. He decided to keep Shadow alive and, kind of try to make Shadow this kind of prodigy that humanity, that would benefit humanity, and or Mobius, or we want to call it. Apparently something goes terribly wrong, and let's just say that the government decides to kill everybody, including Maria and him, aboard the space colony Ark. Now, this very act leaves Shadow pretty traumatized and depressed, as Shadow's character originally starts off as this very thoughtful, curious character, wanting to know his place among the world, and also just, wanting to know what it was like to be on Earth. You see these little moments in the comics, and even in the animated series called Sonic X, where Shadow has a lot of deep questions, almost like something that, a human being would want to know. Shadow has a lot of humanity, and apparently the government, with their very act of, doing the, despicable thing they did, caused Shadow to have this deep kind of hate for a while for humanity, wanting revenge and wanting to fulfill Maria's promise. Thanks to Amy, Amy was able to persuade Shadow and change his ways. Now, in the Archie comics, Shadow, requests his Tails to help him recover a data disk that retains, things from his past and what his purpose was, and Shadow finds fulfillment and peace by knowing that he was created to protect Mobius and protect, that world that, basically Gerald loved so much. Gerald had a huge love for science and his daughter, and as he calls him, his son. So basically, Shadow's purpose was, had a lot more thought to it than, pretty much what he was originally created for. Now, with this Archie comics, there are alternate realities of Shadow the Hedgehog's story and role, like where Shadow becomes king and becomes sort of a dictator that I don't really care for, because that's not something that Shadow would become. Now, keep in mind also, there's also the original story with Sonic Universe, where Shadow was created by Professor Gerald using alien DNA that pretty much sticks to the original video games. I don't personally mind. It doesn't bother me. I think it's interesting, but I have my own theories on how Shadow was created. Actually brings up with my theory about how Shadow was created and why he has a hedgehog form rather than a black alien, black arms form, Keep in mind that Shadow has a strong connection to the chaos energy, like Knuckles. He's pretty much master of chaos control. And Shadow can sense emeralds. So basically, there's this theory that Shadow was created by raw chaos energy that gave him the hedgehog form. Now, how that happens, the mystery of the emeralds kind of vary depending on when we're talking about the emeralds and the mystery behind it. Now, when it comes to Shadow's chaos powers, Shadow has a bunch of cool powers as disposable. Now, Shadow has Chaos Blast, Chaos Spear, Chaos Control, Chaos Lance, and Chaos Mode. He also has a few other cool powers where he can actually, pretty much he has super strength, and the fact that Shadow doesn't age makes him sort of kind of like a god in a way, a demigod. Now, what's kind of cool about Shadow's power is that when he's using these powers, there's three types of way he uses it. You can use it with the inhibitor rings that do some damage but doesn't do a huge amount of damage. There's also the fact that Shadow, when he takes off his inhibitor rings, he becomes this kind of like this force to be reckoned with, where everything is pretty much in, just walking in Shadow's presence, being around his presence, he's a ticking time bomb. Now keep in mind that this is not including the fact that Shadow has a Chaos Emerald that amplifies his power 10 times more than, when he's not using it. So basically, imagine if Shadow had an Emerald with the inhibitor rings on or off. Shadow would be doing a whole bunch of damage when it comes to like his powers and the effects that they have. Now when Shadow's in Super Shadow the Hedgehog mode, well, damn, he practically kicks ass all the damn time. The fact that Shadow the Hedgehog pretty much, depending on how you look at it, beats Sonic twice. He beats him in the, Venture 2 game sometimes. He's beaten him in the Shadow the Hedgehog. He's also beaten him in Sonic X using Super Form. It shows that Shadow is a force to be reckoned with. He is the ultimate life form. And don't forget, he's also a government agent that's, trained in the arts of, pretty much being an agent, working for the government. Now, I feel that Shadow has a lot of limitless potential to be something much better than what Sega puts him out to be. I would like to see Shadow, powers, have some new powers, see him, kind of go like from Super Saiyan 2 to 3 or something, See Shadow's full potential, see him evolve into a better character. The one thing I would like Sega to bring back is the Shadow I remember. The Shadow that was, very charismatic, but also had that dark side to him, like what we remember seeing him from Adventure 2. That's a Shadow I would like to see back. Or maybe possibly, bring back the Shadow from Sonic 06, where he's sort of gaining his humanity back, but there's a lot more work to be done. I feel like, it was the start of Shadow's, regaining his charismatic character back from all the things that happened. Overall, I would like to see a lot of Shadow cool stuff back, his character back, and his power, and just a lot of things, I like to see back. Other than that, guys, I hope you liked the video. Please share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you later.